You are a pervy, self-entitled creep. That's it. That's all. A creep.
I am, in the sense that I have crept into your soul as the morning light creeps through the crepuscular forest, so that you feel my dew-steaming fingers penetrating your inviscerated dreams, which, like palpitated polyps, might at any moment burst orgasmically.
I've asked you to leave me alone 100 times, and either you don't listen or you just don't fucking care. This isn't persistence. This is stalking. I locked the front door and so you come in through the fucking window? You scared the shit out of me and you let out all the peacocks.
And I am grievously sorry for the loss of your pigeons.
Peacocks.
Every one of which is as treasured by me as is the entirety of your intellect and the aggregate of your élan vital.
I'm filing for a restraining order.
You would hold up a flimsy film of paper to halt a hurricane? You would try snag a gambolling gibbon with a paper bag and cage the raging lion in a pen of onion skin?
I'm leaving town. Don't follow me. Don't look for me. Don't even think of me ever again. I swear I'll have you arrested on sight.
I wonder what she meant by that. It is a strange come hither. But then Fialova is mystery embodied. She is whim and wonder all wound into one. Shall I pursue her as before? Or instead drive through my own ribs the barbed hook of hope unfollowed, and so hoist myself like a side of beefcake to dangle in love's butcher shop window? I could ask father for his advice. He is quite sage on the matters of love. Oh, what shall I do? Oh, where should I go?
Ooh. Ooh.
Well, I knew you'd make this decision, because you are not a stalker, no. No, you are a wonderful person. You are such a good person. Oh, what a wonderful person you are. Good for you. Good for you. Get the fuck off of it.
Time. That old covetous patriarch. Crawling on all fours, but nearing too quickly, too sharkish for something appearing so sickly and poor. It is a con, his crippled condition. He is the great trickster, the grand mouldering magician, for even as he crumbles at the cornices, his plaster peeling, his stained windows breaking, his copper greening, his corpses slaking in lime, his cobblestones troughed and upcoughed, he is all the while time gaining time, lengthening and strengthening and grinning in his rigor mortis whim. Though he licks at my neck and trips this progress of love, I will not be hindered. He does not dissuade, for his huffing approach is a reminder of my remainder. I smell in his breath the death of the narcissus flower. I taste in it my own future starvings. I sense the vegetal coolness of the grave, its twilit dew, and the tickle of flies that swarm like smaller starlings. I will die someday, and so will you, Fialova. In this is our only rescue, to love and be with one another, now, anew, in this fleeting whenever. Is it a chase to swim from tidal darkness to the bright respite of shore? Is it a chase to move toward tomorrow again, and, if given the grace, forevermore? Is it a chase to seek food when hungry, knowledge when wallowed in doubt, or an aqueous oasis when lost in Saharan drought? These are not chases, no, despite how they may seem, but fractals of the cyclic whole, all indications of the simple forward roll of planet Earth along the oval track of God's heliocentric dream. These are the headlong motions of being. I am not chasing you, Fialova, but I am merely breathing, drinking, eating, waking, and sleeping. Be not pursued, but be instead persuaded. For me to stop is to be uncreated. Look back at your lot and be not salty, nay, but let us reunite.
Oh, yes. Easter egg.
We two lost halves escape it, and locked in joining groins a-groaning, rock out naked.
Ooh.
Well, I know it's made for a woman, but I wonder if it's strong enough for a man.
Father, once again, the sun darkens your doorway.
Damn.
You look surprised to see me.
I feel surprised to know you.
I am here to pick your brain.
A strangely formal way for a vulture to start his meal.
Whatever is grandmother raging about today?
Shrinkflation. Although personally I think 900 milligrams of Adderall is still more than enough for a single day. But, what do I know?
Father, I seek counsel on a matter of love. Theolova resists my overtures.
Ah, and if she can't get past the overture, how will you ever introduce the first act?
Exactly.
Listen, Max, I was rather hoping you'd drop this feel-over business on your own, but I suppose I have no choice but to let you in on a little family secret. It will be a bitter pill to swallow. Perhaps you should vet a path for it. Here, drink this.
Poison!
Oops, it is. Quick, dilute it with this.
It's the same poison!
Did I not pour from a different bottle? What was I thinking?
I am intoxicated.
Only time will tell if it's a fatal dose or if I should serve you 3 the next time you visit.
What does that mean?
It means we must be patient, Max. Now walk with me. I have a tale. In my youth, I was the wildest of bucks, the buckiest of bucks, and I bucked to my heart's content. Yes, I did quite a bit of bucking. And it was during that period of balls-to-the-wall buckery that I met Theolova's mother. She was the spitting image of your current object of desire, and that is not an old man's rheumy-eyed nostalgia, no. I swear by the beatific needle-sharp tits of Saint Teresa that Theolova's mother was, at the same age, her identical twin. Identical. I spent one glorious evening with that parallel Theolova in a suite at the Imperial Hotel of Carlsbad. It all started quite innocently. A bottle of Slivovitzer, 2 orders of Svichkova, and the Criterion Collection release of The Devil in Miss Jones. Well, I don't know if it was the liquor or the food or the pornography, but soon we were in a high state of arousal. Oh, what a raunchy romp her rump would launch that night. I rogered her in the hot tub. I railed her over the balcony banister. I buggered her under the shag rug. And I made her cling by her fingers to the chandelier so that I could sample the amplitude of her cunny swinging back and forth as a pudendo. And oh, in the lamplight, didn't her breasts glisten gleamingly? And there wasn't a thrust she wouldn't take. There wasn't a perversion that wasn't heeded. And there wasn't a dirty phrase too depraved, too debauched that she didn't demand for me to repeat it. Oh, you keep your female angels and living goddesses. I don't see them that way, and I don't care to. For me, there was never lovemaking. It was always the beast with 2 backs. And that requires beasts for the engagement. That night we were beasts indeed. I remember the farmyard smell of her fundament, the sound of her groaning like a back-broken Neanderthal, the feel of her nails hooking my fishy flesh so that I couldn't shake her off any more than I could spit out her hairs caught between my teeth. Ah, and I remember that look of greedy, pleasurable murder in her eyes. She knew I saw it. She knew we were tussling inside a sweating igloo, the igloo of impending death, polar bears circling us in the night. watching you our wrestling match was the roaring blaze that kept it all at bay. And that even if our fire burned us, we must let ourselves be burned. For just a few feet away was the closing void, and we could only stave it off by fucking, because there was nothing fucking else to do. My point is, my night with Fialova's mother was quite a divertissement. I remember the date precisely, August the 9th, and I'll tell you why I do. Though her mother left the country shortly thereafter, I later received word of Fialova's birth, which had occurred almost exactly 9 months to the day after that triumphant tryst in Carlsbad. 9 months. Though Fialova moved to the city only last year, it was the first time I had seen her, and it was quite a shock too. For it was as if her mother had returned, having aged not a minute since that sultry night 27 years ago that I doppelbanged her.
No.
Surely at this point, son, you must be following me.
Actually, Father, I haven't understood a word you've said.
Stop trying to fuck Fialova.
Impenetrable.
That's another way of putting it, yes.
I am referring to your speech, old man. Word salad, followed by a steaming bowl of mumbo-jumbo gumbo.
You're going to hate the final course. It's just desserts.
Enough of this blather about the devil jonesing for needle-sharp chandeliers. When did you become completely senile?
2 weeks ago, it was quite the event. I had it catered.
I must find myself an advisor less aged and addlepated than you. Wait, of course. Fialova's aunt, Variabelle. She is a great thinker, a scientist, and respected inventor. Although perhaps a bit less respected ever since she claimed to have built a time machine. I'll bet she wishes she could unmake that announcement to the scientific community.
Well, if she hasn't built a time machine that works, then she can't unmake it, and so she might wish for it. But if she has, then she didn't, and so she doesn't.
Yes, she will do for me better than you. She is supremely educated and clever, and, more importantly, is likely to be a wellspring of women's intuition.
Ooh, she'll really enjoy you asking her about her women's intuition.
Agreed. And so I will seek the guidance, extempore, of Variabelle, that lady of temporal science, who knows Fialova's temperament of temerity nearly as well as I do. What recursive culminations might be gleaned between a Frankenstein with the dream of a time machine, and a libertine with the means to be a love machine.
Yeah, you're really going to fucking hate how this ends.
Ooh. Ooh.
Adieu, Papa. Adieu. I shall order diapers for you. Egad! But what is this? I discern a distinctly familiar devil of an Adonis. A non-spermatic bag of penis, who, in a singular multiplicity, respawns himself again and again via some forceless form of parthenogenesis. Yes, it is none other than my forsworn nemesis, that bronzed and brawny, crudely handsome, moneyed missing link, Chadwick von Geswollendink. Oh, that the Maxes should be so taxed by these blasted Chadwickses.
Would you shut the fuck up, Max?
Fire!
Where was I? Oh, yes. Bad, bland Chadwick. What a half-wit Hippomenes who tosses kettlebells instead of golden, delicious pursuits. But, forsooth, so too Fialova has confused her forbidden fruits, as if, in her escape, she could strew a few sour grapes and thus elude me, who bears for her such a
Surprise!
horn of plenitude. And how can I but fume that I should be denied an Eden, all because the apple of my eye, whom God beget to be eaten, refuses to be equally consumed. Oh, I am another Adam, who was first aggrieved in all creation, but even worse aggrieved than him. For I have not yet come upon the eve of my consummation.
You are just such a fucking idiot.
To continue, though my Theolova is pure and all unsacrilleged and would not play the winking mink, I am too sure she'd not abjure from carnal knowledge of this boorish whore, Chadwick Von Gesvolin Dink. Oh, how foolish even witful women are, who can't but let their loins so lure them to the lair of fit, priapic losers with such thick, pomaded hair and even thicker dicks. It isn't fair!
Holy shit. Blah, 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 blah.
I believe I was about to say, when I have my Venus alone again, I must impress on her the notion that it's not the size of the boat, but rather the poetic emotions, and that even a man who is hardly hung, and who, at his maximal inflation, has a micro prick at most, can still use his tongue to bring a woman to great oratorical exaltation, via a probing and sometimes circling post-disappointment conversation.
Come on, Max. What the hell?
I don't.
Blah 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 blah.
Reginald, I have written the greatest novel of all time.
Ah, I'm excited to read it, provided it's not a story about an artist who thinks his work is being ignored because he happens to be rich.
It's a story about an artist whose work is being ignored because...
Fuck.
Listen, I really have written a most powerful indictment of modern society.
As powerful as your last novel, the one about the guy who felt emasculated because his wife was a better chess player. What was the title of that again?
Stop, Rook, and listen. That novel should have leapt into instant fame, much as a pawn leaps from one end of the board to the other.
Wow.
This novel reveals just how difficult it is to be a wealthy, upper-class genius in a world that cares only about the victims of systemized bigotry. I call it a poor time to be rich.
You really suffer for not suffering at all.
Exactly. Just because I wasn't born an orphan in the slums of Bombay,
Mumbai.
I will not be mum. And don't call me boy.
I worry that you might come across like a fop. One who's outraged at losing his unmerited privileges.
Privileges?
The silver spoon is still in your...
Take this. Privileges?
Listen, Max, I'd love to discuss this further, but I have a self-defenestration scheduled for the moment you leave my office.
Wait, I also wanted to speak to you about the publishing of my epic poem, The Passionate Shepherd to His Sheepish Love.
That's the bestiality title I've ever heard.
Thank you.
I thought there was a court order preventing you from writing poetry again.
That was all a misunderstanding. My chapbook just had a few typos in it.
You were charged with libel because of typos?
An outrage, yes. It was a wonderful poem, too, about the stillness of tantric sex. The line in question was supposed to be printed as, budge gently as a racy basis.
Instead, it was printed as...
Judge Bentley is a baby rapist. Listen, this is why I want you to take charge of my epic. A real publisher won't make such egregious printing errors.
I trust this new poem doesn't start with the pronoun I.
I?
I. Most poems that start with I tend to be masturbatory.
This poem is far from masturbatory. It's...
A stroke of genius?
Yes.
Does it in fact contain multiple strokes of genius?
Many of them.
Quick strokes in rapid succession?
It's not masturbatory. In my poem, I compare the eyes of my lover to the Rocky Mountains.
Because they're both riddled with cataracts?
Because they have a virgin wildness, as well as a superior outlook. And then I compare myself to a Spanish galleon during the golden age of sail.
Both major carriers of syphilis.
Both neatly trimmed